Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucks, powered by Chris Gates Fitness. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Jim Rosati. Jim, what's up?
Good morning.
Good morning. As always, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Could have been happier,
say like
but
birthday
weekend.
song.
We didn't get weekend was, not great, but
Honestly, why is that?
I don't know. I just didn't do anything this weekend. I was just a lazy piece of crap all weekend long.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's you.
Which at times, like, that's good. Sometimes it's good to have weekends like that. I don't know. I feel like I just did absolutely nothing this weekend.
Got you.
But yeah,
it's a lot of regret.
Yeah, I wish I could have I wish I maybe would have done something this weekend.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
Now it's Monday.
You can make up for it this weekend. How's that sound? We'll give you a do-over.
All right. That'll work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have no complaints over my weekend. Not that I did much, but I'm okay with not doing anything, Jim. That's the difference. But no, for real. The Pirates, they played baseball. They played the Blue Jays. Something. I don't know. This Pirate team, they just like to frustrate you. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to go too much detail over the games this weekend, but I don't know, man. It is something like you look at his pitching staff and how well this starting pitching is. And we can't say it enough, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but this is supposed to be the weakness, and this is a pure strength. This isn't just like a strength because it's just an NL Central team. It's one of the better of the weak teams. Like, this is a real strength because this is actually a really, really good starting pitching staff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you want to chop it up. You can chop it up and say they're one game out of last place. You can chop it up and say they're 1.5 games out of the wild card. This is like literally a glass half full, half empty scenario.
Yeah, it's still probably way too early to be looking at wild card standings, because here's the deal with wild card standings, right? Like, you look at it and you're like, oh, the Pirates are 2 games out. 2 games out. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to be like, okay, well, they're 2 games out, but in order for them to get that final spot for the rest of the year, they need to be better than Arizona. They need to be better than Washington. They need to be 2 games better than the Cubs. They need to be 2 games better than the Giants. And they need to be 2.5 games better than the Cardinals. So it's like, yeah, they're 2 games out, but they have to beat all those teams.
Right.
What are the odds?
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But again, like right now, at this point in time, when you do look at the standings or whatever, you can have an argument and say this team is terrible because they're literally just 1 game out of last place.
Yeah.
Or you could say, well, hold on. It's just June 3rd. Chill out, relax, a lot of baseball. They're only, and I guess I misspoke. Last night was 1.5. They're only 2 games from the wild card. Like, that's a place you want to be in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, their playoff odds aren't 0. They're 9.6% playoff chances right now. So, something. Teams have made the playoffs with those odds before.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. Urgency is definitely a buzzword that's been going around, and I certainly understand that. And we'll talk a little bit about it. Hank's coming up, according to Jason Mackey, right? And I think that certainly helps. We were here a week ago debating on like if Henry Davis should be getting called up because of the injury to Joey Bart, right? We had a little debate, and like I said, like I'm not going to die on any hill per se on which direction they go. I had a preference. I would have called up Henry Davis. But if they wanted to keep him down so he can get right, and all the arguments that you made, I can certainly back that and understand that. And here we are a week later where they more or less decided, like, you know what, it's time. He is ready. We're going to bring him up.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I'll tell you what, before we do get into Henry Davis getting called up, just so you are aware, BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA and NHL playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even the live odds while games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. So yeah, Mackey, sources telling him Henry Davis getting the call to Pittsburgh. What are your thoughts on this, Jim?
Honestly, I'm a little surprised it's this early. I would have expected at least another week. He has had 22 games down there in AAA, 97 plate appearance. He's actually played more in AAA this year than he has in the majors. So that number kind of shocked me when I saw that.
Same, actually. It feels like he was up a lot longer than he was.
Right. And you look at the numbers and they look good. I mean, they look good in AAA, 286, 433, 649. He's walking over 10% of the time. He's striking out less than 25% of the time. He has 7 homers and 97 plate appearances, so the power's there. Now, he hasn't been facing the best competition. He's had some position players, thrown in the mix there pitching to him. I think that's just where, like, I just and again, I'm not the Pirates, so maybe they've seen enough apparently. For me, you almost want to make sure that, like, when you call him up this time, this is the last time you call him up. Like that would be my goal from this situation is, hey, go to AAA, get right. Next time we need you, like that's it. Like you need to be ready. You need to be ready for major league pitching because he hasn't shown that he's ready for major league pitching yet. Now, you could say, is that on Henry Davis? Is that on the coaching staff? Is that on the developmental team? I don't know. This isn't a blame session here for like who's to blame for Henry Davis's failures. But I mean, you only get so many shots at the majors, and he's a number 1 overall pick. So like they'll give him his shot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But like he was called up last year, didn't perform, was sent down. Well, it was IL'd, I think. It was a pretty. I mean, he was hurt, but didn't play well. Went on the IL, came back, didn't really play all that well. Gets the starting job out of spring training, doesn't play well, gets sent down, mashes for a month. And then we got a comment here. They may not have seen the news. Yes, Henry Davis is being called up. So yeah, like I want this to be the last time. This needs to be the last time he's called up. He needs to show that he's ready for major league pitching. And I'm not quite ready to be like, I think I've seen enough in AAA. Like I personally would have wanted to see a little bit more out of him. And I know, we'll have Murphy on for his segment later today. One of the things I wanted to ask him was just, hey, what have you seen from Henry Davis? Like, are there any fundamental changes with Henry Davis from AAA to what we saw in the majors earlier this year? But you look at the numbers, like I said, the numbers look good, but then you look at the competition, and I'm still not like super confident that like Henry's back, right? So that's where I'm at right now. Now hopefully he is. Hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's figured it out. He's gonna face a tough pitcher, in his first game back. Tyler Glass now is scheduled to pitch on Tuesday, I think. So yeah, all those fastballs that Henry Davis couldn't catch up to earlier in the year, we're gonna find out real quick if he can catch up to fastballs or not.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, like last week's debate when we talked about this, again, I did side on I would bring up Henry. And more the fact was the absolute need where this team is, having some urgency, and it's just kind of telling him, like, listen, no pressure. The offense, which it is too, and still is, like the offense is playing much better right now. Nick Gonzalez is carrying this team. Andrew McCutcheon's back. You don't have to be the guy. Just come up here and be a guy. It's like the Mitch Keller effect. Like, listen, Mitch, you don't have to be the guy. Just be a guy. So maybe taking some pressure off would help. But there's a true need, like, that you still need somebody there because, like, Grant Cook isn't the answer. Like, sure, that's fine for short term until, like, you figure out the long-term issue. So the fact that, like, they didn't do it, the way the schedule worked out last week, they didn't play a whole lot of games anyways. So Grant Cook was only up here for a few games while Henry Davis had another week to still get right. So they make the decision to call him up for Tuesday for the Dodgers series, and again, like, I'm good with it. You said he's back, in the AAA pitching and such, and like I can't answer that. I can't, when you look at the numbers and you say 286, 433, 649, a 175 weighted runs created plus, like, absolutely Henry Davis is back. Jim, what are you doing? You're crazy. We talked a little behind the scenes, and this isn't like to go down that path, but is AAA like the worst it's ever been talent wise? That's how I feel. I feel like AAA is at the absolute worst we've probably ever seen it ever, like, in my mindset, as far as talent goes. And, like, this is why you have Henry Davis tearing it up as well as he is. So, like, you can, in my mind, like, you can get skewed and think like he's tearing it up. But in reality, it's just that AAA is just so bad that he could be the same guy when he gets called up. He's the same guy. But you're hearing a lot of things. You're seeing different stuff. I hope he is. But to your point, like last year, the performance was bad, and you got to excuse it. Well, he was injured. Makes sense. He was injured. This year, there's no excuses. He came out the gate. He had a hot spring, and then he just looked awful. So they need him to be right. Like you said, they need him to be. He's been performing so far. I guess it's just a wait and see. Yeah, Murphy's going to be coming on here in a second. We'll talk like a little bit more about him and what Murphy's seen from him. But like the strikeouts are down, the contact's there, the power's back. I really hope he's right because he's going to be a big piece for this team to be good.
Yeah, I mean, and he's had 37. You bring up like the competition levels, right? He's played 37 games in AAA, 164 plate appearances. This is between this year and last year. A 1,094 OPS. So it's pretty clear that like he's too good for these AAA pitchers. He's too good. Like you can't a 1,094 OPS in AAA is not something that people should be doing very long because if you're doing that in AAA, you need to be in the majors. Plain and simple,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're seeing this a lot, across the system. The Pirates, anyone who has any talent whatsoever who can even sniff the majors, they're dominating AAA. You saw Nick Gonzalez dominate AAA this year. You saw
Right.
G1 Bay dominate AAA this year. You're seeing Jake Lamb dominate AAA this year, like putting up numbers like this, right? Yeah, I think there's certainly something to the level of competition at that level. I heard a theory the other day that said, maybe, yeah, and I don't even know if this is true, but there's been pitcher injuries, a lot of pitcher injuries, and those pitcher injuries are basically just depleting AAA. Like
Right.
anyone who has anything, right, from an arm standpoint is in the majors just because they need bodies. I would have to look at the numbers to see like are injuries really actually up this year. I'd have to kind of look at that. But I mean, it's an interesting theory, right? I mean, you don't run into good pitchers in AAA. Look at the Pirates pitching staff, right? Are there any
It's like
good
all
pitchers in
relievers.
triple? Are there any
No,
good pitchers in AAA? Right? Like, no,
absolutely not.
there's not. Like, if they can do anything, they're up here. And then those pitchers who do go to AAA, like you look at Quinn Priester, one of those like kind of in between guys, he goes down AAA and dominates, right? So it's yeah, like I don't know what the level of competition's like quite down there. It makes it very difficult to evaluate talent. It kind of I always felt like the International League. There's two leagues in AAA. There's the International League and the Pacific Coast League. The International League, I feel like, was always super easy to tell, like, okay, is this guy good or not? Pacific Coast League, always very difficult. You're dealing with a ton of elevation stuff. Like, just
Right.
every place you play over there is just like a juice box. So you have hitters just doing crazy things in the Pacific Coast League, but the International League was always kind of like a neutral league, and now that has not been the case. Like that league average OPSs in AAA are just unreal right now. So yeah, I don't know, but to get back to Henry Davis, like I need this to be his last time up. Like I need him to hit the ground running. I need him to show that, hey, this is my job. I'm the Pirates catcher. I'm the 1-1 overall pick, like me and Paul Skeens, right? Like that's the future of this team are those two guys. And he has the mentality, right? We know he has the mentality, the leadership skills. We've heard it all through spring training. He just now needs to do it on the field. All the off-field stuff is great, but you got to do it on the field.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. I wanted to say one more stat to kind of put this in comparison because again, like how bad the talent is in AAA. Like this slash line, you look at it and you think like this is pretty good. 272, 341, 387 slugging. Like it's not a bad slash line.
It's what, like
You know, that's
730 OPS, something like that.
yeah. Yeah. Like that's not a
It's
bad
above
slash line.
average. It's above average in the major leagues. Yeah.
Right. That's Leo over Peguero. It's an 89 weighted runs created plus. Like he's 11% below average, right? So like when you look at like Peguero, and this is something to also put in correlation. Like when you look at Peguero and you look at those numbers, like, oh, he's doing actually pretty good down there. But it's like when you put it relatively speaking, he's doing much worse than the average person in AAA, which is why it's like, well, he actually isn't doing all that well because the talent's so bad that everyone's doing so much better than that. So, like, you're talking about how it's so hard to tell, like, if someone's going to do well. Like, Peguero's having a fine stat line, but, Jake Lamb crushes that. Jake Lamb's not a good player. So it's like, yes, when you see what Henry Davis is doing, it's like, well, he has to kind of be doing that. But at any rate, yeah. So Henry Davis is mashing down there. Is it going to translate? We don't know. But that's what it has to happen. So we're going to find out again. Ryan said here, like the next 20, 30 games is very crucial. I don't know if it's crucial for like the entire future and rebuild of this organization. But yeah, we're going to find out about Henry Davis. So with that said, any other words before we bring on Murphy?
I don't think so. Yeah, let's just like Ryan commented here. It's this is pretty crucial for Henry Davis's development because if he comes up here and fails again and you got to send him back down, then like there's real questions. There's already real questions, but if he comes up here, fails again, there's running out of time. You only get so many chances.
Right.
So
Yep. I guess one last question we can touch this real quickly, but Matt asks, is Delay coming back too? He's eligible to come back. He is playing in AAA. Henry Davis is the call today that it seems like they're going to make. We'll find out what the corresponding move is. But yeah, I don't know. They could honestly keep him stashed in AAA at this point in time. If Rowdy lives again,
I can't
maybe it's
imagine.
something where Yasmani Grandal, like the three of them stay on, and Yasmani Grandal is like the Rowdy spot. I don't know.
I can't imagine Grant Cook stays, so Grant Cook will go down.
Right.
And Delay has options, so Delay can stay in AAA when his rehab's done. Maybe down the road, Delay comes up, but no, Jason Delay is not going to be on this major league team, I don't think, until something else happens.
Yeah. And again, I could think of rationally a Rowdy Delay makes somewhat sense, and you get Yaz at first to cover that, which you need sparingly at this point. Again, I'm just speculating that I could see that move. I don't know if it's going to happen, but at any rate, yeah, he's not coming back now.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on. Before we do Jim.
Real quick, the show this week and every week is sponsored by Chris Gates Fitness. Chris is an online fitness coach from Pittsburgh, huge Pittsburgh sports fan, and a friend of the show. Chris works with people all over town, all over the world to chase their fitness goals, whether it be to lose body fat, build muscle, or do both while improving your overall health and wellness. Chris helps people find a sustainable approach with diet and exercise to make progress that sticks. He works with me. I can't say enough good words about him. And he shares tons of information for free on his social media accounts every single day. If you're looking for tips, tricks, and strategies to use with your diet and exercise, make sure you give him a follow. Just search for Chris Gates Fitness on literally any social media platform. We're going to tag him when we post this episode, but Chris Gates Fitness on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Threads, all that stuff. You'll find him there. And real quick, he let me know last week, DiNardo, that he's about to come up with something new. He shared the details with me. I'm not going to share the details with you. It's a surprise, but he's got something really, really big cooking up that everybody should be pretty excited about. So that's going to come mid-July, like late July, early August. But he'll drop that on his social media accounts here soon. So make sure you follow him. He's got some big stuff planned.
You know how much I hate surprises and not knowing something. Damn it, Jim, do I hate you right now? You're
So
off the show.
everybody's gonna have to go follow Chris Gates Fitness. Yeah, it's he's got something cooking.
I'm about to slide in his DMs. I need to know. I'm muting Jim next week if I don't find out. All right, let's bring on our boy Anthony Murphy from Bucks on Deck. Here is Starbucks on Deck. Anthony, welcome to the show once again.
What's going on, guys?
You got it.
Another fantastic morning, huh?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. So Murphy, let's just get right to it before we kind of dive in on the system here. Let's kind of we brought you on. You have been watching all of these minor league games. We have not. We've just been seeing the highlights, right?
Yeah.
Is Henry Davis any different today than he was a month ago?
Whenever I saw the news come of it last night, I was a little shocked that they would pick now to do it, because like he didn't have a bad week this past week, but he did strike out 40% of his plate appearances. So like you talk about like the strikeouts are like technically down. So like this week wasn't like he made some good contact. You know, he hit some doubles and hit a home run and all that whatnot. But he also struck out quite a bit too. So I thought the timing of it was a little. I mean, you know, it's still, what is it, like 22 games that you said he's played down there. So I'm sure if you like poke and prod at little numbers and stuff like that, you could probably find a lot of stuff that's still kind of like, eh. But I just thought it was kind of weird timing to call him up after that, when, you know, that's the kind of the issue that he had in the majors, and now he kind of had a rough week of that in the minors, and maybe it's one of those things that ideally maybe you see him have a week like that, and then you give him another week to see how he adjusts to that, to see if he can kind of counter the rough week, and if he follows up with a strong week after that, then maybe you look at calling him up. But they kind of like, okay, well, I guess they've obviously seen what they wanted to see from him, and that was enough to to get him the call. I mean, he's hitting the pitches he's supposed to hit. He's hitting them hard. Like, you can question, like, he's a 24, 25-year-old former first overall pick college player in AAA, where, like you guys have said, the level of competition doesn't look overly competitive now, to where a lot of these guys that very much have a reason to be dominating, they're dominating. You know, Jake Lamb's a 30-year-old former All-Star. He's playing well. Ji-Hwan Bae, he's had experience in the majors, so like you would probably expect some success from him. Nick Gonzalez, another 24, 25-year-old former first overall pick. Obviously, that's translating a lot better coming back up. So, I mean, I guess right now they're just like, I guess maybe they're just thinking, okay, well, it worked for Nick Gonzalez. Maybe the time down there worked for Henry Davis. I don't think there's ever really a stretch to where Nick Gonzalez was striking out like this. So I guess we're just gonna have to see. Like you said, AAA pitching and Major League pitching are just two completely different things. I can come on here and say that, like, okay, well, he was really struggling with elevated fastballs, and he's hitting elevated fastballs really well down in AAA. But like 90 miles an hour is a lot different than the stuff he's going to face in the majors. So
yeah, I guess that was like going to be my main question is this offseason, he really got a lot better with breaking balls. Like he's not chasing breaking balls anymore. That wasn't his problem the first month of the year. The problem was he couldn't catch up to a fastball. He couldn't catch up to a major league caliber fastball. And so I guess that's just from watching him for, you know, a month now in AAA. There are major league fastballs in AAA, like they exist.
Yeah.
So I guess, how did he look against those 95 and up as opposed to like the lower stuff? Like how did he look against that stuff?
He certainly had his moments, and I think from the what I've seen of him, I wouldn't have said he was that far off from maybe giving him another shot. Like I probably would have, like me personally, probably just gave him like I said, like maybe gave him this upcoming week to see how he kind of responded to last week with the strikeouts. And if in the minors, you see it all the time. Guys just have those kind of weeks where they just can't hit anything. You know, it's part of the plan, part of the whole thing of getting better. And, you know, sometimes when you're working on something very specific, there's a reason why you're working on this thing very specific. So sometimes you just don't do very well at that specific thing for a week. And that could have just been what this past week was. You know, he's just had a down week. And if he came back and responded well to it, then yeah, I think there's not too much. I don't think this was ever supposed to be like too long of a thing of him down there, just because it's major league pitching that he's struggling with. And only to an extent can you work on that kind of stuff in AAA when it's a whole different level that you're having issues with. So I don't think it was. I saw this more as like maybe just like a reset period kind of thing. Just go down here, mash a couple balls, get a little bit of confidence. Probably don't have to tweak. It's not going to be enough time to tweak too much in your swing and in your game overall and stuff like that. Just maybe add a little confidence, clean a couple things up, and then come up and just give it another shot at this point. And I think maybe it's a week or so, a little early, but like the Pirates, obviously they have a lot more consistent eyes on this, more guys on it, and they saw something they liked and figured it's time.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I guess something to point out in this week, he had back-to-back games where he struck out 3 times.
Yeah,
Struck out another game twice, and then before that, he only struck out 2 or more times in just 4 games. Yeah. So yeah, the strikeouts definitely were up this week. And I guess to your point, this is something we had talked about with, Henry Davis. Like, this is a guy who's just simply never failed, right? Like, he has just, everywhere he's gone, he's been basically the best guy. And his first time he failing was in the majors. So, like, to your sense, I guess if you're going to look as like a failure, like this week was probably like the biggest failure of his AAA career, striking out 40% of the time. So it's like, so how do you respond from that failure, doing it in AAA? And then once you've conquered that, okay, you know what, let's bring you to the major. So I guess I see that aspect as well. But yeah.
Steel City DW
stuff.
asks, do we know if Davis made any observable changes to his swing, or maybe is this just, a confidence builder? It does look like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've been watching a lot more, but it does look like he's a lot quieter. Like there was a lot of moving parts in his swing, especially, coming into this season, just moving his hands around, moving his body around. He does seem to be quieter now, like not moving around as much.
Yeah, you could see some like tiny little differences in it, and I guess the you want to make like a joke at it or whatnot. He's getting hit by a lot more pitches again, so maybe whatever he's going back to whatever he was doing beforehand that allowed for that kind of stuff. But like I said, I wasn't really planning on this happening this early. This was something I was going to like tackle like this week and stuff like that. I had some videos saved up from like last year that of him hitting in the minors, and I was going to go through like today since everybody's off and kind of go through what he's been doing so far this week and see if I can really pick up any kind of notable differences and stuff like that. But they obviously made the call a little bit. They jumped on it and went and called him back up. But you could notice it, like you said, Jim, it's a little quieter. I think some people saying he's like a little more upright or something like that as well, too. So
got it.
So he's at least trying something different.
Well, enough Henry Davis. That's 30 minutes of Henry Davis here. So we're excited to see him back up. Hopefully, obviously, like I said, this is a big call up. Pirates need him. They could really use him. Like DiNardo, you mentioned, the offense is playing a lot better right now, so there's not as much pressure on him. I think, which hopefully that can help. Like you can just shove him, 7th or 8th in the order and say, "Hey, just go be you," right? So yeah, but yeah, Tuesday, Henry Davis back up. All right, let's dive into the rest of the system here. Let's talk about a couple guys who shined this week. What do you got for us, Murphy?
So this weekend was kind of fun, and I'll bring this up too because doom and gloom kind of stuff. That Pirates win on Saturday, I think they won the Saturday game, right? Was from Friday on the only win in the entire system. For Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that Pirates win. The Pirates minor league system went 0-14 from Friday on. So
all right,
yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch over the weekend. But there's some guys that stood out. Matt Gorski, he's still hitting pretty well. He had 3 home runs over the past week. I guess right now it's he was definitely, I know we've talked about him before, but he's definitely a guy that I was kind of worried about buying too much into this year just because he was going to be playing in Greensboro. But Charles McAdoo had 10 hits over last week, 3 doubles, couple stolen bases, batted over 500. Like he's just shown he's well beyond anything that you can throw at him in high A. And I like I said, I tried not to get too bought into him, but like he was a guy that like when we did like the book, like he was just outside of my top 50. Like right now we're working on the updated site rankings that should be out like either later this week or early next week. And
nice.
He's up there now. He's worked his way up there pretty good. Just showing a lot of power. Has 10 steals as well. He's playing a lot better defensively. Like my biggest thing with him was I had no clue where he was going to play defensively. Like he was a second baseman in college. Okay, maybe there. They played him a little bit at first base. They played him at third. They played him in the outfield a little bit. He's settled pretty well in at third base. He's made some pretty good play. They were in Asheville last week. Asheville doesn't have a stream, so I didn't get to see anything. But like even going back before, he's played a lot better at third base than I really feel like I expected with it. I just kind of figured he'd be like a second baseman, left field. He's got a hit to get to the majors kind of player.
Yeah,
and just he's done nothing but the swing and miss is way up in the system in general. He's one of the few guys that has like a swing and strike rate under 10% right now. Just he's doing everything well, and it's just been every week I kind of wait. It's like, okay, well, is he going to come down to earth a little bit, or this kind of? And he's just hits and hits and hits and hits. So.
Well, we all know the infamy of Charles McAdoo. It certainly brought intrigue to me. But yeah, like when he was drafted, that week he had,
yeah,
the 6-hit game, 2 home run, 8 RBI. He came into the system just hitting literally right away. So yeah, not laser focused on him. I don't think he's like a big time prospect, but certainly someone's like, all right, let's watch this guy. And
I mean, he was a preseason All-American his last year at San Jose State too. So like he's like, and like I didn't even like really, he was drafted 13th, 14th round, something like that. So college hitter drafted like that, and you're just like, okay, well he'll play in Bradenton all year next year. He'll maybe get to Greensboro and like he'll make some noise in Greensboro just because like, I mean, he's a college hitter, but he's done nothing but hit, and he's making contact when other people aren't making contact, and he's fielding well. He's showing everything that you would want. And he said at some point they're going to want to start shuffling the rosters around, get some guys up to face better competition, and like he's right at the top. That I feel like there's nobody holding. If you're talking about him at third base, there's no one really holding him. Holding him back on the Altoona roster. I mean, even if you want to get him he could play other positions too. So
nice.
But
I like it. Yeah, no, I mean he's done nothing but hit since coming into the organization. Yeah. So yeah, it's good to see it at Greensboro. Obviously, Greensboro's a a little bit easier place to hit, but I mean he's dominating the competition. And
it's not like he's just hitting. It's not like he's just hitting home runs and he's not doing anything else either. It's not like he's not like selling out for those home runs and stuff like that. He's showing like a complete all around well-rounded kind of approach that should translate going forward kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice to see him do well. As I said, that's a 13th overall pick. So yeah, if you can get anything out of a 13th round pick, like even if he just ends up being a utility guy, right? Who can bounce around a few places, like that's a win. So, okay. Who else we got?
So digging down a little bit into the complex, the guy who I feel like is continually impressing, and like speaking of getting like a shot at a different level, Yordani De Los Santos is just still playing really well. He struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season. He struggled a little bit when I was there. Had some pretty bad at bats, but like you just don't see those anymore from him. What is it? He had 6 hits. He walked 5 times, and he's just going crazy on the bases right now. He stole 5 bases last week. I think he's up to like 12 to 14 stolen bases right now.
13.
13. He had a game where he had 4 in a game. Like they're just running crazy down there in the complex right now. And he's just putting solid at bat after solid at bat together. And he struggled a lot when he was with Bradenton last year. And part of me wondered if it got to a point to where he was just tired because it was late in the season when he came up and had just turned 18 really. And, it's different level that jump in competition can be fairly wide, especially for like an 18-year-old. So just wonder if like that whole experience kind of just got the best of him and stuff like that, or he was trying too hard to make something happen at a point, and just like everything just fell apart for him at that point. Nola brought up a good point like this season that he was maybe trying too hard to swing his way back into Bradenton. And that's why we saw a lot of like bad swings early on and stuff like that. And someone finally kind of spoke and said, hey, just do your thing and you'll get back there kind of stuff. And ever since then, that's when it's kind of clicked with him. But he's a fantastic fielder, really good defensive player. He made that like Derek Jeter jump throw in the hole kind of thing while I was down there. Had everyone like oohing and awing and stuff like that. It's like he's an incredible defender. No doubt he could probably stick at shortstop. Just doing everything right now. It's just been really impressive so far to see like the next step for him kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm a big Yordany De Los Santos guy. It was kind of interesting seeing his numbers last year not live up to kind of what I would have expected. So I mean, to see him go down back to the complex league and do what he's doing is nice. He's one of those guys, and I tweeted this last year when I watched him, but I saw him in Bradenton, and this was when he was struggling too. But when you're watching lower level games like that, I feel like you can quickly point out like who the most talented individuals are on the field. Like there are guys who shine heads and shoulders above the rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like when I was watching Bradenton, Yordany De Los Santos was one of those guys where it was just like you can just tell this guy is better than everyone else. And like I said, the numbers weren't really reflecting that, but just like from a pure tool standpoint, like he had it all. Like when his bat hit the baseball, it was louder than everyone else's, right? Like just like stuff like that, little things like that, where the baseball makes a different noise when Yordany De Los Santos swings as opposed to these other people. That's a cool thing about those lower levels that I really, really like. And yeah, it's good to see what he's doing now. I am interested. I don't. Do they keep him in the complex all year round before bringing him back up to Bradenton? Do you move him back to Bradenton because it doesn't seem like it's much competition for him right now?
I was in the boat that like maybe at first maybe just let it ride out the entire year. Because like what they end like in July now, and then that still gives you like a month or so in Bradenton. But like there comes a point, like you said, like it's not really it's starting to get to the point where it's not really competition for him anymore. He's just there was times even last year to where like I would talk to like Eric Birdland on Twitter and we'd go back and forth and stuff like that, and he said every game that he'd go to, Yordany at 18 years old was the best player on the field, like hands down.
Mm-hmm.
And now again, it's even more obvious. Like he at 19, like this is the best player on the field. And like you said, you could just look at him and the way he makes contact with the bat and defensively and just everything about him is just this guy has it. And like he's just better than everyone here. So I don't know how much longer you keep him there, but like it's close. I would have to think it's close before they give him another shot. Maybe they wait till like the All-Star break or something like that. They're not too far off from that, and then try it from there. So
yeah. How about pitching? It's a real quick pitching primer for the week.
So there was well, I would throw Bubba Chandler obviously came back. He looked better control wise, like command wise, everything looked better. The stat line wasn't like the prettiest of things and all that. I think him throwing 75 pitches off the bat kind of shows that maybe it probably wasn't too much to be like worried about. And even then, if it kind of, I think it was someone on Twitter mentioned that it was like a previous surgery or something like that he had that was bugging him. And even then, I don't think like a week off to kind of reset was the worst idea for him anyways. And you can kind of see that it came back. Everything looked better than it had been before and stuff like that. So it's a good step for him. I don't know how they're going to manage him this week, but he did pitch on Wednesday. And generally, as they slide everyone up, he should be in line for like the Tuesday, Sunday thing. So that'll be a good test. Like I said, I don't know if that's what they're going to go with on it. I mean, they could still pitch him Tuesday and then just not pitch him Sunday or pitch him a lot less on Sunday. But if he's already thrown 75 pitches right off after a week off and stuff like that, I don't think there was ever too much to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's comforting.
Yeah, that's definitely
it.
But
okay.
There wasn't
so Bubba back.
There wasn't too much. Like I think one guy that's worth highlighting because he's had a really good year and I guess like the theme so far have been guys that are kind of dominating the competition at they're at, and he's a little bit of an older guy for the level. He pitched there last year, but Derek Diamond has been off to a really good start in Greensboro, and we talk about Greensboro not being the most ideal place for pitchers and stuff like that. He has an ERA under 3 right now. He threw 5 innings, struck out 7 last week, and they're playing in Asheville. And I think if there is one stadium in that at that level that is more hitter friendly than Greensboro, it would probably be Asheville. And he threw 5 innings of 1-run baseball, struck out 7. It's a good sign. He's pitching really well. He was a guy that I was really interested in when they drafted him. I saw like some old high school video of him, and there was a lot of stuff there then. You know, he got dropped out of the rotation at Ole Miss his last year there. So, but yeah, I'm a big Derek Diamond guy. And when I talked to Robbie Hammock, I asked him if there's anyone who kind of stood out to him. This was when Hammock was the manager in Greensboro last year. I asked him like who kind of stood out to him that didn't really get a lot of talk like national wise, and he mentioned Derek Diamond just because of his pure pitchability. Like he's a guy who knows how to pitch, and just based off on that he felt like he could pitch like a very long time. Maybe not like at the absolute highest level, but like even as like a depth guy at AAA that can come up every now and again and contribute. But like pitchability wise, he just like raved about it. And we're kind of seeing it this year with him. He's looked good. He's missed the first part of the season with an injury. Back now, they've slowly worked him into the rotation. And I feel at this point, the only reason he's not in AA is because like where really do you put him right now in AA?
Right.
Yeah.
So
okay. Derek Diamond. He started 3 games so far this year. He's given up just 1 run in his 3 starts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not bad.
He's looked really good.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Diamonds look good. There wasn't like a lot of
theme. It's a lot of younger, lower level guys. I wish we'd be talking more about some double and triple A guys, but it is what it is. It's the Pirates farm system right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a gap. I feel like there's some guys who like in AA that have AA wasn't the greatest. Ashcraft had another good start. Chase Bowen finally had a pretty solid week down there in AA. I think when I talked to Bowen last year, I had mentioned it when Sammy Ciani got promoted that I thought maybe Chase Bowen might get things going because they are like really close. They're really tight and they push each other like really hard to be better. And like Bowen mentioned, like once they kind of got reignited again in Greensboro, like last year, like the year prior, that like it started to kind of click for them a little bit. They went and played winter ball together in Australia a couple of years ago. So I kind of thought that maybe Chase Bowen can string together some like a nice little streak when Ciani got to AA as well. And he probably had his best week that he's had this season. So
cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Murphy, thank you again for joining us this morning, getting up early and talking about Pirates minor league baseball with us. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the Bucks on Deck Substack. You also have a podcast with Nola, where if you're interested in more prospect stuff, diving in deep, your podcasts come out every Tuesday. So make sure you check that out, the Bucks on Deck podcast, and follow Murphy on Twitter. You know, all that good stuff. And YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel.
I've been slowly uploading all the video I've gotten on from when I was in Florida, mainly because my phone keeps telling me it's full of storage. So I needed to get it off the phone. So So,
Anthony I think it's just Anthony Murphy, right? It's just a ton of prospect videos. So yeah, check it out.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again. We'll see you next week.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Murphy.
Peace.
Bye.
All right, Jim. So you know what this means. time to talk this upcoming series. And I feel like it's bleak. It's bad. It's the big bad Dodgers. They have a $13 trillion payroll. They have 48 Hall of Famers on the team. But the Pirates seem to play well against them these past few years. So I don't know what to take of it. But yeah, the Dodgers, they're coming into town. But I don't know. I don't know, Jim. I don't know. The Hundo boys will be taking them out.
No, I'm really looking forward to this series. The pitching matchups line up great. Tyler Glasnow versus Jared Jones on Tuesday. James Paxton, he was a target of ours this free agency. You know, we were talking about Paxton being a guy to maybe go after. He's having a pretty good year. I mean, from a result standpoint, he's not striking anybody out. He's walking people, but the ERA is, you know, where you would love to have a 3.29 ERA right now. And then Walker Buehler on the mound against the real ace of the Pirates staff, Bailey Falter. So
that's right.
Yeah, Jones, Skeens, Falter, Glasnow, Paxton, Buehler should be a pretty fun series. You also get to see Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. So I mean, like this Dodgers team is still stacked, right? There's just four. I mean, there's four perennial all-stars I just named right there, and all four of them, you know, put up MVP caliber type number. Like they're all going to get MVP votes. So,
right,
yeah, it's a really good team. Pitching wise, I think we stack up. I mean, we stack up with them. Tyler Glasnow is one of the best pitchers in the majors right now. But guess what? Like, so's Paul Skeens and Jared Jones and Bailey Falter. Oh, yeah, it'll be a good test. Glasnow's been striking out everybody. That's going to be a fun game, kind of seeing Glasnow and Jones go toe to toe.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they're very similar in the sense of the strikeout and the rates and such. No, like I'm with you. Like it's kind of like the Toronto series, right? But Detroit, like if obviously it didn't go that well, but like there's Skeens and Jones, it's gonna be a 2-game series. You wanted to have those two guys up, and this one, yeah, Bailey Falter has been good, and he's the complete opposite of the other two players that are gonna be pitching for the game. So yeah, as far as the series goes and the matchups, you do like it. But like, man, Jim, I gotta tell you. So you look at the Pirates offense, right? Guys that have at least one WAR. Connor Joe. And he's been having a fantastic year. Like Connor Joe is giving you everything that you want, right? He has one WAR. Of all players that have at least one WAR, he is the lone guy. When you look at the Dodgers and you look and say, you know what, 2 months in, how many guys they have at least one WAR? Well, there's 7 of them. It starts at Miguel Rojas at number 7. Then it goes to Max Muncy. Although, by the way, Miguel has one WAR. Max Muncy at 1.2. Teoscar Hernandez at 1.3. Freddie Freeman at 1.9. Will Smith at 2.5. Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, is just a DH. Andrew McCutchen, and we talk, having a fine year. 115 weighted runs created plus is your DH. He has a half a WAR. I mean, he's a DH, right? You're not going to get the WAR by having defense and such. Half a WAR. 115 weighted runs created plus. Shohei Ohtani also DH, just hits, doesn't see the field, doesn't pitch this year. 2.9 WAR. And then Mookie Betts a 3.3 WAR. So I'll say this. Yes, the matchups are electric. This is a test for Skeens, a test for Jones, and a test for Bailey Falter. But man, is this team just light years different from the Pirates?
Yeah, and as you were going through that, I was like, I wonder what the Pirates position player WAR is if you just added everybody up. And it's 2.5.
Enlighten us. So the entire
the
Pirates
Dodgers
team is one Will Smith.
Will Smith is just as valuable as the entire Pirates lineup put together. And Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts are both better. So yeah, that's where we're sitting at right now, I guess. It's a juggernaut offense. I mean, there's no way around it. This team is that the Dodgers went out there and they spent a ton of money to build a super team, and baseball allows for stuff like that to happen, and the Dodgers have the money to do it, so they went out and they did it. Um, and you add like Teoscar Hernandez is a guy who like you don't even really talk about. He's also having a huge year down there. So yeah, this team's really good. Andy Pajas, was recently called up one of their top prospects, and he's he hasn't been outstanding, but he's carried his own as a 23-year-old with a lot of power to being shown early on. So yeah,
Right.
uh,
But
the
also
pitching though,
playing well of recent too.
yeah. The pitching though is the equalizer here. Like you can shut down a good offense with a good pitcher. Like it just takes one guy to go out there and minimize the damage these guys can do. So Jones, Skeens, Falter, lots gonna fall on their shoulders this week. You probably don't expect the Pirates offense to do a whole lot against these Dodgers guys. So, you're looking at 3 games that if you're going to win, you're going to have to rely on your pitching and your starting pitching in particular. They're going to have to be effective. They're going to have to go deep into games, minimize the amount of outs needed by relievers, and the bullpen, the back end of that bullpen, they're going to have to be nails. Like Holderman, Chapman, Bednar are going to have to be really good this series if we want to come out with a series win. It's the Dodgers. You've got to, if you're going to win this series, you got to be really good. You got to play near perfect baseball, and they're capable of doing it. They're going to have to execute, especially on the mound.
Yeah, you nailed it. They're going to have to execute. The starting pitching is going to have to be every bit as advertised. But this bullpen has to come together because you can't expect, especially like Jared Jones, to go out there and give you 9 innings, right? Paul Skeens probably not going to give you 9 innings. Bailey Falter might. he sure might. That's the one guy that might save the bullpen. But you would certainly expect, like, especially the Jared Jones one, you're going to probably need 4 innings from that bullpen. It's got to hold up. It has to hold up. And we just talk about these offensive guys. We see how the bullpen's been struggling. Like if they are lucky enough to be afforded the lead, they have to hold it. So, yeah. And again, not saying that they can't do it. We are talking about a team that at a worse state swept the Dodgers. And that was like the Pirates World Series, and it was fun. So, but again, they've actually played the Dodgers well, I seem like, which is odd because they haven't been good. So, at a point in time, this has been the best we've seen them in the past 5 years. Hey, maybe there's still a shot.
And
I do want to answer a quick question though here as well.
Yeah.
So where is it? Turtle says, has Glasnow pitched in Pittsburgh since being traded for Archer? The answer is no. So this is also
I was just looking that up too. Yeah, he hasn't. So
yeah. So like, yeah, the matchups are cool in that sense, but also this is Tyler Glasnow. This is a return to Pittsburgh as well, and you don't want to see that trade already has a bad enough taste in ball Pirates fans' mouths. Like you don't want it to be compounded by him coming in here and pitching well.
odds are he's going to though.
Yeah,
because he's
pretty. But Henry Davis is going to take him deep twice also.
Yeah, that would be great, huh? Oh, that's another thing this series has. 2 Louisville catchers.
Well, guys, time to go. It was a great show. Thanks for watching. Yes, Jim. 2 Louisville catchers. Have your
2
glory.
Louisville catchers battle for Louisville catching supremacy. Is this series?
Yeah. Well, like I said on Twitter last night, fun note. I don't see a Will Smith locker room.
I don't either.
Henry Davis clearly supreme.
Will Smith also never had like a huge banner hung up outside the stadium, whereas Henry Davis did.
There you go. Yeah. So who cares about Will Smith? He might be as valuable as the Pirates now, but after the series, the Pirates will barely be better than one player on the Dodgers.
Yeah, this lineup's crazy. And the Dodgers did just get their closer back off the IL. Evan Phillips, he was on IL for a bit. He's back. He got the save on Saturday. Few former Buccos here too. Daniel Hudson in the bullpen for the Dodgers, having a really good year. Anthony Bonda in the Dodgers bullpen. Somehow that dude keeps getting a job. Johan Ramirez also in the Dodgers bullpen. So
yeah,
3 former Pirates in that Dodgers bullpen. Now, Ramirez and Bonda, I don't think they've been very good.
But I do have to say, Daniel Hudson, man, he has just steadily been going and having a career.
Yeah, Daniel Hudson's put together a really good career. I mean, he was what, 30 when he was with the Pirates?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'd already had a career up to that point, but he's kept it going. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at that point in time, people were like, Daniel Hudson, is he washed? And here he is in 2024, still going. So look good for
37 years old. Anthony Bonda actually 0.00 ERA in 6 innings so far.
We won't go there.
But the Pirates do miss Yamamoto. They miss Gavin Stone, who's been pitching really well. So I guess if you were going to pick 2 Dodgers pitchers to face, it's Buehler and Paxton, right? So like it's lining up right now for them to maybe squeak out a win. But they're going to have to Pirates are going to have to rely on their pitching.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's for sure. Yeah, this team's so good. But at any rate, like we talked about, you want to face the good teams. This is going to be a very good measuring stick. Henry Davis is coming back. Like, if there's going to be some positives, right? Like, you're facing the 3 guys you kind of want to see the Pirates, which there's 4 guys you're comfortable with regardless. Like, if you don't take any of them out, Adam Mitch Cohen here, you're still feeling pretty good about your matchups as far as pitching goes. So, you're at a strength there. Henry Davis is coming back, so maybe some reinforcements, right? So it is kind of a big series. We'll find out. So what's your prediction? How many games the Pirates winning?
They're going to win. Pirates are taking 2 out of 3.
Okay.
They're going to take 2 out of 3. They're going to win Tuesday and Wednesday.
Wow, no faith in Bailey Falter.
It's not that I don't have faith in Bailey Falter. It's just that the Pirates are 1-2 this season when Bailey Falter gives up 0 runs. So Bailey Falter is going to go out there and shove. But yeah, you know what? Let's just go for the sweep. Now that I think about it, let's just sweep them.
You love pandering.
Let's do it. Let's go, Bucks. Sweep the Dodgers.
All right.
All 3 games, not even going to be close. Not even going to be close.
Let's get out of here. This is nuts. Everyone, as always, thanks for watching. We'll keep it short. Like the video if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Listen to the podcast. Give us a little comment. Rank it if you want. And then check out, of course, the join button. All our tiers that we have as memberships. And the link below for our June 22nd tailgate at PNC Park, sponsored and provided food sandwiches from Permane Brothers. So, check all that good stuff out. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow after game 1 of the sweep to do the post game. So we'll see you then.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.